He's just like an angel. He does anything he likes. He's so free, going from one place to another, and from one corner of Hong Kong to another corner of New Territories or Kowloon and doing his writing. I found wonderful. He has such freedom to do the things he likes to do, which most of us, most of the people in Hong Kong won't have such chance.
Welcome to part 4 of this mini-series dedicated to Zheng Choi and his street art. Today we're going to look at his legacy, because for all the dismissive attitudes directed towards him, as I mentioned in part 3, it seems that he got the last laugh. Because supposedly, for having no influence in Hong Kong, the art world treated him differently. Very much so. In the twilight years of Mr. Zheng's life, he received international recognition for his art and his typography. And he would go on to inspire fashion directors, art designers, interior decorators, and CD cover artists. Mr. Zheng even lived long enough to see his artwork for sale at Sotheby's, and local artists in Hong Kong even managed to grant the King of Kowloon the chance to showcase his work off the streets for the first time by holding his own exhibition.
But in 2007, his reign officially came to an end, and when news of his death became known, many people went to take pictures of his work all across Hong Kong to create an everlasting memory of his presence. People were also worried that the government would clean up his remaining public artwork, and they were right. The Hong Kong authorities promised that this would not happen and supposedly looked for ways towards preserving his work. The Home Affairs Bureau then said they were committed to protecting Zheng's works, but, in air quotes, it depended on the actual situation and feasibility. Well, the feasibility must have been truly unfeasible, as out of 54,998 pieces of work, only 2 survived. As Sasha Zhao writes again for leapleapleap.com. In the years since his passing, the glorious empire of the King of Kowloon has waned, or perhaps it simply succumbed to Hong Kong's efforts to scrub the city clean. After the last drop of the King's ink is wiped away, this city will have transformed itself into another Singapore, impervious to all marks and stains. The urban wanderers who once walked the streets of Hong Kong, lodged in its humble rooms, and paced its bus and subway stations, will have disappeared without a trace. There's only money in one form of street art, and that's advertising. Why else scrub the city clean when there are corporates who get to have their ink everywhere? The friction within Zheng's work meant his legacy on the streets of Hong Kong would be practically wiped clean. Now, this is something I touched on in part 2. Why couldn't a city become a canvas? I prefer to see the expression from someone's imagination than the dull, flat, joyless scenes that are our everyday, almost everywhere. It's mostly this reason why I think Zheng was a king. As one man, he opened so many people's eyes to what's possible and stubbornly railed against a system of conformity, no matter the personal cost to him. Modern artists like Banksy do not suffer. Zheng showed what was possible as a form of expression in a city that is slowly bleaching like a coral reef. But in the process, other Hong Kong artists have been inspired during and after his reign and have been enabled to reach a wider audience through social media.
I really appreciate what he did for Hong Kong street art scene. He find some good spot to play. Really amazing spot. I think, wow, this guy, he can do that, why I can't?
Instagram is massively powerful for expressing oneself. Such apps promote and can cultivate a greater acceptance of street art on our city walls. Will acceptance towards graffiti, street art, change? I would give the answer a cynical yes. Street art is partly corporatized. Artists won't always get to choose what they want to say. It's the type that has to be agreeable, apolitical, safe. This is something I'll discuss further in future episodes. Now, I hope you've enjoyed watching this little mini-series about the King of Kowloon and gives you an extra flavour as to what Hong Kong used to be like. But I do want to end it
on this final thought with a quote, and again, we will talk about this in later series on this channel. Swire Properties Island East Complex, which is home to both artistry and the offices of 300 multinationals, is a place of uniformed guards and immaculate lobbies where nobody would dare litter, much less paint graffiti on a wall. Babi Fong, a spokeswoman for Swire, called Tseng a cultural icon. When asked how Swire would react to a modern-day King of Kowloon decorating its glass towers with ink, she replied, "We're not focusing just on his graffiti. Instead, we're seeing his as a part of Hong Kong history." Pressed further, she added, "We'd communicate with him to ascertain as to whether he was really an artist." Thanks for watching.
冇啦，邊度講皇帝啊？而家又毛澤東，我係個收仔嚟做啫。啲地方係收仔，你我都唔要噶啦嘛，係我一個人要啫，啲仔都唔要。